event, and I was telling him that I've reached my Zoom meeting quota since last year, and it's nice to see real people with real beautiful faces. And and itong napakagandang seminary and beautiful place of Lipa, Batangas. So thank you for the invitation, and I'm excited to talk to you about the topic that was assigned to me, which is defending life in the Philippines. Okay, so before that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the group that I am a part of. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. So as mentioned by the person who gave the introduction a while ago, I am part of the Alliance for the Family Foundation Incorporated. So basically, we are a group of professionals from different fields. And just like you, we are very much interested in defending life, marriage, and the sanctity of the family here in our beloved country. So ito po yung this is what we try to do in our group in ALFI. So we try to defend the dignity of life in all stages, the solidarity of the family, and the sacredness of marriage. And I would like to believe that you and I, we share the same sentiment. We share the same love for life, for marriage, and for the family. Tama po ba yun? Okay, do we want to fight for the right to life? Do we want to fight for the right of Filipinos for the sanctity of marriage? Do we want to fight for the Filipino family? So yun, tapos na po yung talk, yun lang. But yun, very happy to be with friendly faces and hopefully fellow fighters, fellow defenders of the right to family and marriage and the right to life. So ito po yung aming grupo. This was our last in-person Christmas party before the craziness that is the COVID-19 pandemic happened. So we're all normal people. Some are young, some are a little bit not so young, but we all share that same desire for life, marriage, and the family. So what do we do as a group? Basically, yung aming pong grupo, we try to be at the forefront of the battle to protect the right to life, to protect marriage, and to protect family. And one thing that we're very proud of was that during the fight against the reproductive health bill, our group was one of the petitioners. Kami ho yung isa doon sa nagsampa ng kaso laban sa RH bill. And our president and the dean of our law school, Attorney Maria Concepcion Esnoche, was one of the lawyers who argued before the court, telling the justices of the Supreme Court that we don't want the RH bill here in the Philippines, that here in the Philippines, we want to keep the sanctity of marriage and family intact. And you know, to do that, she had to argue for like 5 to 6 hours with no water breaks. And she was being questioned by all of these justices about the law, about jurisprudence, about all sorts of things under the sun. Okay, and we're very happy that she was part of that. Now, although the RH bill, ano po bang ang status ng RH bill ngayon? The RH bill is now a law. Okay, although it seems as if we lost that battle, later on we will discuss that the fight is not yet over. And despite what seemed like a lost battle, we can actually still win the war. So later on, we will talk about that case. So what else do we do in ALFI? Kami po sa ALFI, we also prepare position papers to be submitted to either the Senate of the Philippines or to the House of Representatives. Alam niyo po yung ating Kongreso, from time to time, sila ay nagkakaroon ng mga pagdinig, ng mga hearing kung saan tinatawag nila yung iba't ibang parte ng lipunan upang magsalita tungkol sa mga proposed bills. So isa po yung ALFI sa mga inaanyayahan na magpunta roon. So ako po, I was already invited to speak before the Senate and before the House of Representatives. My first exposure was during the Senate hearing on the divorce bill. So I remember during that hearing, konti lang po kaming mga anti-divorce, and then yung mga pro-divorce, ang dami-dami. They came with matching t-shirts, they came with the media, they came with streamers, and then we came with just our bags and a bottle of water, but backed up by tons of prayers from people like you who I know are also in this fight with us. And then I remember during that hearing, tinanong po ako ni Senator Bato de la Rosa tungkol sa effect ng divorce sa mga bata. So ganun po, very exciting po yung ginagawa namin, and hopefully our group and your community can work together so that we can be one pro-life group fighting strong for life, for marriage, and for family. Now, another thing that we do is we try to be on the lookout for possible activities na nangyayari that might undermine these rights that we fight for. And recently, I'd like to share with you na may natuklasan po yung aming grupo na isang nakakatakot na pangyayari, very disturbing activities going on in Facebook. If you open your phones right now, you don't have to, but if you want, you can go to Facebook and search safe abortion in the Philippines. Okay? If you search that, this is what you'll find. Facebook has all of these advertisements for safe abortion services in the Philippines. We did this research back in November, and what we got were 26 more or less pages advertising for safe abortion services in the Philippines. Question: should this be allowed? Is abortion legal in the Philippines? Sino nagsabing yes? Sino nagsabing no? Okay, so later on, we will talk about that. What is the status of abortion in the Philippines? Second, is there really such a thing as safe abortion? Ano bang nangyayari sa abortion? And who ends up really being safe? Okay? So when we discovered this, we were so disturbed because Facebook is accessible practically to everyone. It does not discriminate based on age. Someone as young as 7 years old can get access to Facebook. Someone as old as 105 can get access to Facebook. It's free. So with just a click of the, may mouse pa ba ngayon? With just click on the keyboard, one can be led to all of these insane advertisements. But wait, there's more. Because when we click one of these abortion clinics, okay, itong Rose Safe Abortion Clinic, ito po yung nakita namin. We saw in those pages screenshots of conversations from clients to these abortion clinics. And we see their testimonials, messages saying, thank you for the abortion, and conversations about advertising, basically, the abortion services that they were offering. Again, keep in mind, is abortion legal in the Philippines? It is not. Is there such a thing as safe abortion? There is none. Okay? But wait, there's more. This is a little bit disturbing, so I'd like to warn you. But we saw in one of these pages, one person had the audacity and the gall to post an actual fetus. This was on Facebook, viewable to everyone. And you see there the word success and whatever. Welcome, bebe. Pahinga ka na, wag na po ulit. This is actual screenshots from these Facebook pages. So that's the reality that's happening here in our country. Abortion is slowly but surely being normalized. They want to make it part of daily life. They want us to be accepting of this horrendous and evil act. In fact, in one study by Reuters, they say that abortion in the Philippines is a national secret, that there are a lot of women who are misguided, who are uninformed, and who are undergoing quote-unquote unwanted pregnancies, who are going to all of these abortion clinics. And according to this study, medyo natatakpan lang ho. Let's see. Yan. Okay. That in 2015 to 2019 in the Philippines, of all pregnancies, according to them, 51% were unintended. And of all of those unintended pregnancies, 51% ended in abortion. So much life wasted, so much potential put to waste, gone. Okay? And ganyan na ho karampant yung nangyayaring abortion sa ating bansa. At yun po, at ano ang gusto nilang maging tugon? There are only two possible scenarios, two possible paths that we can take. The first path is to fight this phenomenon, for us to go back to basics, for us to understand the dignity of the human person, the dignity of the right to life, and for us to go back to basics and to fight all of these evil acts. The other path, which I think is the path that leads to destruction, is to accept this as normal and to incorporate this to the way of life of Filipinos. And you know how they want to do that? They want to do that through legislation, because that's one way to institutionalize some society. You craft something, you craft a law, and you make it a part of the daily life of individuals. That's why during the pandemic, this was in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, when there were hundreds of people dying, a lawyer actually proposed a bill to decriminalize abortion. A while ago, we said that abortion is illegal in the Philippines. Abortion is a crime. Any person who commits abortion may be held liable and may be imprisoned. Okay? And yet, we have here a proposed law. And this could actually become law, okay? In which they are seeking to decriminalize abortion. Precisely, they are saying that, alam nyo, normal naman na yan eh. Ang dami nang nagpapa-abort, bakit hindi na lang natin gawing legal? Bakit hindi na lang natin gawing mas madali para sa mga tao na magkaroon ng abortion? So gawin na natin yang legal. That is what they want to happen in the Philippines. That is what they want us to accept as part of our lives as Filipinos. And I think eventually what they want to happen is for the Philippines to be like those European countries who celebrate the passage of abortion laws in their places. This is a photo from Ireland, an actual photo in which these women were celebrating the decriminalization of abortion in their country. You can search for it on Google, and you will find that on that day, when abortion was made legal in their country, these women, these mothers, these daughters were all jumping in glee, hugging each other, and celebrating the fact that they can now abort their own babies. And when we think about it, when we reflect on what this is, what happened here, and what could possibly happen in the Philippines, the decriminalization of abortion is basically allowing for the murder of a baby, the murder of a human person. Okay? So yan po yung gusto nilang mangyari. That is the path that we want to avoid. The path that leads to destruction of life. The path that leads to a complete disregard of our human rights, of our human life, and of our human dignity. So ngayon po, I want to know from you, my dear friends, which path do we want to take? Who here wants to decriminalize abortion? Thankfully, wala. But who here wants to fight with me? And who here wants to do what we can to ensure that here in our country, the right to life is upheld at all times? Yan. So, okay. So, since yun po yung gusto nating mangyari, and I hope magkakasama tayo dito, the question is, how do we get there? What do we need to do so that the right to life here in the Philippines is continuously upheld, and so that we are able to prevent the decriminalization of abortion in the Philippines? I would like to propose 3 things. Okay? Tatlong bagay na maaari nating gawin upang mapigilan natin itong mga nakakatakot na mga pangyayaring ito. Okay? So una po, I would like to encourage everyone to know the law. Okay? Meron ho ba dito ang gusto maging lawyer sa future? Yun. So sana meron kasi mahalaga po yung mga abogado sa ating lipunan. Alam niyo po, kanina ho nabanggit ko na na-invite po ako sa Senate upang dumalo doon sa Senate hearing on divorce. So hindi lang ako yung lawyer doon, madami ding lawyer. Yung ibang lawyer, mga pro-divorce sila, ganyan. Gusto nila yung mga ganung bagay. So we need more lawyers who are also dignity defenders and lawyers who are also willing to fight for the right to life. So, ano ho yung una nating step or unang suggestion ko? Sabay-sabay po nating basahin. Know the law. Isa pa? Louder? Isa pa? Okay, know the law. Hindi know the law, ah. It's know the law. We have to know the law. We have to know our rights so that we can properly uphold, protect, and defend our rights. Okay? So, what does the law say about the right to life of Filipinos? And what law should we look at if we want to know all about the right to life? So, the law that we have to look at is the 1987 Philippine Constitution o yung ating saligang batas. Yung saligang batas po natin, ito ang, pumipiyak ako ito ang pinakamataas na batas sa ating bansa. Lahat ng mga batas na maaaring ipasa ng Senado ay kailangang umayon sa saligang batas. At kung mayroon mang batas na hindi sang-ayon sa saligang batas, ito ay maaaring ideklara na unconstitutional. Okay? So yan po yung ating saligang batas. Ngunit, being more than just being a law, you see, the Constitution is not just a legal document. It also contains there a statement of the wants, the aspirations, and the beliefs of us as Filipino citizens. Question, sino ba yung nagsulat ng Constitution? Si Cory Aquino ba? Si Noynoy Aquino? Si Chris Aquino? So the author of our Constitution is the sovereign Filipino people. Sino yun? Tayo. So whatever we put in the Constitution, these are the laws that we want to follow. These are the laws that we want to govern, okay, Philippine society. So yan po yung ating saligang batas. So what does the Constitution say about the right to life? First, we have to know that the Constitution expressly recognizes that each person has a right to life. Dahil ayon po sa Article 3, yung Article 3, ito po yung tinatawag nating Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights contains the enumeration of the different rights, privileges, and liberties that each Filipino citizen has. At ayon sa saligang batas, no person shall be deprived of life without due process of law. So that constitutional provision mentions the existence of a right to life. What is the right to life? The right to life first means the right to exist, the right to be free from any physical threat that would threaten one's existence. And this one I like in particular. Sabi ho ng isang constitutionalist, the right to life also includes the right to a good life. You see, as pro-lifers, we have to also understand that being a pro-lifer does not only mean being against abortion, being against contraceptives, but it's also looking at it from a holistic point of view. Okay? Na yung buhay ay isang mabuting buhay. The right to a kind of life in which each person is given an opportunity to reach his full potential in all aspects of his life, which includes physical health, mental well-being, moral excellence, and spiritual excellence as well. So that is what our right to life should include. Okay, as a necessary consequence of our existence, we have to be given that opportunity to be the perfect version of ourselves. Question. Okay, para tayong nasa classroom. Okay, walang okay, matakot, walang grades. Who gave us the right to life? Is it the government? Is it the Constitution? Is it the President? Sino kaya? Any ideas? Who gave us the right to life? Ganito na lang. True or false? The government gave us the right to life. True or false? The Constitution gave us the right to life. The President of the Philippines gave us the right to life. The future President, sino? So, kung hindi ang saligang batas, kung hindi ang gobyerno, kung hindi ang ating pinuno, saan ba nanggaling ang ating karapatan sa buhay o right to life? Tama ba yung karapatan sa buhay? Right to life, okay? We have to know and we have to be convinced of this, that the right to life is something inherent in us. We came with it. We were born with it. It is something intrinsic to us, which we possess by virtue of our being human. The government, the laws, the state did not grant us our right to life. What they did was merely to recognize that these rights were already in existence. We have to know that these rights are anterior to the state. It existed even before the state. What the state did was merely to recognize that and to codify that in a law. So kahit mawala ang ating gobyerno, kahit mawala ang ating saligang batas, ang ating karapatan mabuhay, our right to life will remain as long as we are human beings. Okay? So there. So right to life. So yan. Any comments po ba or questions so far? Okay. So yun po yung unang sinasabi ng ating saligang batas sa Bill of Rights, that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay. Ngayon, the next question is, so we already know that all of us possess this right to life. Next question. When does this right to life begin? Okay? Kailan ba natin nakuha itong karapatang ito? When does the right to life begin? Ayon po sa ating Constitution, in Article 2, Section 12, the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. Okay. It shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. Okay. Sabi natin kanina, meron tayong right to life. And that right was merely recognized by government and put in writing through the laws of the land. And one of the duties of the government is precisely to help protect that right, our right to life. Now, the question is, when does the right to life begin? The Constitution tells us that the state shall protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception, which means that from the very first instance that there is life, the right to life already exists and state protection already starts. Okay? Now, in a case, ito po yung minention ko kanina, yung Imbong versus Ochoa. So ito po yung background sa case na yan. Di ba ho, noong 2012, nagkaroon ng mga pagdedebate tungkol sa reproductive health bill. Okay? Nung naipasa na po ito bilang isang batas, madaming mga grupo ang nagpunta sa Korte Suprema upang ipa-nullify o ipa-invalidate yung batas na iyan. At doon sa kasong iyon, sa Imbong versus Ochoa, ang sabi po ng ating Korte Suprema, the court recognized the fact that life begins at fertilization. Ano ba ibig sabihin yan? So, according to the court, they recognize the fact that from the very first moment that the sperm and the egg meet, there is already life. And any threat that may come, okay, to that life must be guarded against by the state. Kaya po yung RH bill kasi, ang layunin po niyan ay yung magpalaganap ng isang reproductive health system sa Pilipinas. At isa po sa mga layunin niyan, eventually, is to be a population control measure. Isa po doon sa mga layunin ng RH bill ay yung magpalaganap ng mga contraceptives. Okay? At ang masama doon, pinapayagan dati ng RH bill yung pagpapalaganap ng mga contraceptives na mayroong abortifacients, meaning contraceptives that had abortive effects. Now, because of the case of Imbong versus Ochoa, the court recognized na hindi maaring gawin iyon ng Estado. Hindi maaari na yung Estado magpalaganap ng mga contraceptives na ito dahil mayroon na ngang buhay na kailangang protektahan ng ating Estado. Okay? So yun po yung nangyari sa Imbong versus Ochoa. Okay. So next. Ayon din sa ating saligang batas, in Article 2, Section 11, the state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. So sabi natin kanina, human dignity is something that we are born with, something that is intrinsic to us. And it is that human dignity, okay, that is the source of our human rights. Naniniwala ba kayo doon? What do you think comes first? Human dignity or human rights? Ano kaya yung nauna? Ano po ang nauna? Human dignity or human rights? Human dignity. Tama. Dahil alam niyo sa ibang lugar, pinaniniwalaan nila na nauna ang human rights kaysa sa human dignity. But what happens then if you take away the rights? Then you take away the dignity. Okay? That's why, di ba dati ho may slavery? Yan. So hindi nila ni-recognize yung dignity ng ibang tao, kaya they were treated as if they were objects, they were commodities. Okay, so there. So yung human dignity na yan, yun yung nag-guarantee na tayo ay mayroong human rights na kailangang protektahan ng ating estado. Okay? So yun po. So ito yung mga ilan sa mga probisyon ng ating saligang batas na dapat nating malaman at dapat nating ipagtanggol. Una, that we have the right to life, that it cannot be deprived of by the state without due process. Second, the right to life begins when? Moment of from conception. Louder, from conception. Okay, that we have the right to life and that the right to life begins from conception. When does it end? It ends at the point of natural death. Okay? So there. And then, ayon sa ating Supreme Court, yun daw, moment of conception begins at fertilization and not implantation. And the fact that we have dignity and human rights. Okay? So ano yung first advice natin kanina? If we want to be pro-lifers in the Philippines, we have to know the law, to know the Constitution, and to know the value that the Constitution puts, the premium that the Constitution puts to the right to life of each and every individual. So ito po yung nakasalalay, my dear friends, sa laban na ito. Kung papayagan po natin ma-decriminalize yung abortion, what will happen is that abortion will be normal in the Philippines and there will be countless of lives put to waste. And this is something that is clearly against what we have put in place in our Constitution, a Constitution that recognizes the dignity of every human person and a Constitution that guarantees full respect for human rights. Next, yan. So, sabay-sabay po nating basahin. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, sorry. Know your worth. Yan, sorry. Typo. We have to know who we are and we have to know what we are capable of. Sino ba tayo bilang mga kabataan at sino ba tayo bilang mga tao? We have to know that, sabi natin that dignity, that human dignity was came with us. Okay, we were packaged with our human dignity. But dahil tayo po ay mga Katoliko, sino dito yung mga Katoliko? Yan. Dahil tayo mga Katoliko, we know that we can go deeper into these realities. And we know that that human dignity is ultimately sourced from the fact that you and I were made in the image and likeness of God. We are the only creatures in this entire universe and multiverses, if you follow Spider-Man. We are the only creatures who are capable of knowing, of choosing, and of loving. Tayo lang yung mayroong intellect and will. And therefore, because of that, we have this dignity. We have this immeasurable worth that we have to fight for. And this is precisely what we will lose if society becomes desensitized to the value of life and to the horror of sin and the horror of destruction. Because really, abortion is nothing but a grave sin and a blatant destruction of God's creation. And I hope that's something that we can advocate against as future pro-life defenders and lovers of human dignity. And therefore, this is the last advice or the last step that we can do. As young people, we have not only to know the law, not only to know who we are and what we are worth, but we also have to know what we can do. You see, sometimes as young people, we don't give much respect to what we can do when we come together and voice out our concerns, voice out our opinions. Alam niyo po yung huli kong hearing na inattendan sa Kongreso ay tungkol sa teenage pregnancy bill. I think this was just last year and it was a Zoom hearing sa Congress. So yung bill na yan ay naglalayon na paigtigin o patibayin yung pagkocontrol sa teenage pregnancy sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalaganap ng mas marami pang contraception at pagpapatibay ng sex education na sponsored ng ating pamahalaan. Okay. So kami po sa ALFI ay inanyayahan sa Kongreso upang magbigay ng aming posisyon. At sabi namin, hindi kami payag dyan sa teenage pregnancy bill na yan. Kasi teenager, bakit natin bibigyan ng contraceptives? Di ba? Hindi ba pag ginawa natin yan, baka mas ma-encourage pa sila to commit in these acts that clearly they are not yet mature enough for. Second, sabi namin, hindi kami payag dyan sa teenage pregnancy bill na yan dahil yung pagtuturo sa mga kabataan on matters of morals, on matters of sexual morality does not belong to the state. Sino ba ang dapat magturo niyan? Sa tingin ninyo, sino ba dapat magturo sa atin, mga kabataan, tungkol sa kung ano ang tama o hindi sa mga bagay na ito? Si Father ba? Si Mayor? Si Sister? Ayon po sa ating saligang batas, the primary right and duty to rear the youth belongs to the parents. And so, yun ang sinabi namin. Pero nung hearing na yon, medyo nakakalungkot dahil kami pong mga pro-lifers, we were gravely undermanned. Siguro, 3 grupo lang kami na tumutol sa bill na iyan at yung 3 grupo na yon ay puro pa matatanda. You know what we lacked during that meeting? The presence of young people. Nakakalungkot dahil yung mga young people na nandoon, sila yung mga nagsasabing, we need this teenage pregnancy bill because we want to express our sexuality, because we want to be liberated, etc., etc., etc. So sabi ko, nasaan na yung mga kabataan na magnanais lumaban sa mga ganitong masasamang panukalang batas? Di ko alam, nandito lang pala sila sa Lipa, Batangas. So, young people, my dear friends, know what you can do. Alam niyo po, if you can, eventually, you can form a group. Let's say the pro-life, beautiful people of Lipa, ganyan, young people of Lipa. And then you can be invited to Congress. Kung gusto po ninyo, gagawin nating posible yan. You can be invited to Congress and you can address our senators, our congressmen, and you can tell them that, dear senators, dear congressmen, this is not what we need. What we need is genuine care for our well-being. And our well-being is not just sexual well-being. Our well-being is to be provided good education, good job opportunities, good formation primarily coming from our family. So know what you can do. Sana po this is something, ito pong ating pagkikita-kita sa araw na ito, I think this is providential and I hope that, sabi nga ng High School Musical, I hope that this is the start of something new. Yeah. Alam niyo ba yung High School Musical? Yan. I may have just revealed my age there, but yes, I hope that this is the start of a revolution in which young people take an active part in defending human rights, human dignity, particularly the right to life and the sanctity of marriage and the family. Lastly, okay. Alam niyo po, yung pagiging pro-lifer Hindi po yan nagsisimula sa eskwelahan, hindi po yan nagsisimula sa simbahan, ngunit ito po ay dapat nagsisimula sa ating pamilya. Sabi nga nila, the faith is better caught than it is taught. And we catch the truths of our faith, not from lectures, not from catechism classes. Yes, those help, but from the living example of those who take their faith seriously. And that is the role of our family. The family is supposed to be a school of virtue, a school in which you and I are showed the life that we are supposed to be living. It is supposed to inculcate in us the reality that you and I are made in the image and likeness of God, that you and I have human dignity, and therefore we have to live in accordance with that dignity. And we have to do what we can to make sure that society continuously upholds our dignity and that society is there to help advance our pursuit for perfection. Okay? Now, if we're talking about it in a purely secular perspective, yun po yung ating nais. Perfection. Okay? To be the best citizen that we can, to be the best student that we can, but because we have been blessed by faith, we know that we can always go beyond human perfection and go for sanctity, for holiness. And, you know, I think closely related yung ating fight for life, for marriage and family, and our personal vocation to be holy, okay, to be saints, sabi nga nila. And I think it starts in the Filipino family. So, advice at this point in your life, be a good daughter, be a good son. Because only then will you eventually be a good father, be a good mother, or maybe be a good spiritual father as a priest, be a good spiritual mother as a nun, as a religious later on. So the fight for the family, the fight for life, the fight for marriage begins where we are in the comfort of our homes, in the loving relationship that we have with our family members. And I'd like to end with this very nice quote from John Paul II. And sakto kasi yun pala yung, I actually didn't know that this was your theme. But John Paul II said, as the family goes, so goes the nation, and so goes the world in which we live. If we take care of the family, we can be ensured that our nation is in good hands and our world will be in order. It all starts in the family. Our journey to becoming pro-lifers, to becoming dignity defenders begins in our family. And I hope that you and I can work together, can journey together to become better advocates for the right to life and for the sanctity of marriage and the family. So yun lamang po at this point. I would appreciate questions or comments from everyone.